Welcome to the Full Armor of Game podcast with the Czar of Dating and the Texting Prince, episode number 41. This topic is called the importance of your reputation. Your reputation is your life, fellas. Protect your reputation at all costs. And this goes back, I know we're a little late on this, the whole Puff Daddy situation, P. Diddy, Puffy Combs, whatever you guys want to call him. I never liked the guy. This is the reason why. So we're going to break it down, discuss the juicy details of everything that is going on, and also give you guys some valuable life lessons. So be prepared. This should go out to every man. Doesn't matter how old you are. The younger, the better. Protect your reputation. But we're here to talk about it.
You bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. This is Sparta! Sparta! Put on the whole armor of game. This is where we fight! And these shield boys!
And we're going to lead into his atrocious apology that he made a video about.
After he got caught, and for anyone that doesn't know, he got all sorts of allegations about sexual assault, sexual abuse with women, way worse ones too, about trafficking women, all sorts of sketchy stuff that has been coming out about hiding cameras in all of his parties and, getting blackmail on all of, the friends that he has that he invited to parties. All sorts of stuff came out about Diddy, and it keeps getting worse and worse. But here is how he originally responded to the publicity that came out about him.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
What did you think about that, Czar?
So that apology, if anyone hasn't watched the hotel video by now, that came out from 2016. They were at a hotel. P. Diddy comes out running.
Was it Cassie, his girlfriend at the time?
Cassie. So she used to be a singer. She had maybe 2 hit songs and she disappeared. So she was Diddy's mop-up girl. And by that, I mean, she was his slave. So what they would do, allegedly, but this came out already in a lot of reports, and there was rumors about this. He would have her call male escorts, and they would come in. They would give Cassie that hot beef injection as Diddy watched and touched himself. He touched his little wiener to her getting that hot beef injection. So he treated her like a slave. That's why I call her a mop-up girl. And in my opinion, if you ever put your hands on a woman, you're not a man, number one. If you have to abuse a woman in order to try to control her, you can't use your masculine frame, your voice, your body language, your eye contact. If you have to put your hands on her, that might work temporarily if you really want to control a girl. That's only temporary, but over time, people rebel and they have resentment. So all those things that he did to her finally came out. And that's how women operate, bro. Eventually, Once they stop fucking with you, they want nothing more to do with you. All those secrets they know about you, whew, they're going to come out into the light. And this is why I tell guys all the time, don't do anything in private that you wouldn't want other people to know, your family members, friends, that you wouldn't want the entire world to know, because it's going to come back to haunt you. I don't do anything in private that I wouldn't want anyone else to know that I do. No matter what you're into, I don't care. Even sexually. If you know you're going to be embarrassed if people find out about this, why would you do it? That's the message that I have regarding certain things that he did in the dark, and those things that are done in the dark shall come to light. And that's exactly what happened to P. Diddy. And remember that episode, it was on Making the Band. He made them walk, I think, 5 to 6 miles in the freezing cold for them to get him a piece of cheesecake. Do you remember that episode? There was an episode he made the band walk like 5 to 6 miles, and that's New York miles, to grab him a fucking piece of cheesecake, because that's how much of a narcissist he is. He loves that power, and he treats people like shit. You couldn't pay me enough. I don't care if he was going to give me a contract right then and there. I would have walked my ass back home.
Yeah. Yes, he had. This can go really, really deep too, about him being a plant from the feds and all sorts of stuff to get dirt on people. But the things that we can take from this, like Czar said, if you have to physically use your physical force with a woman that you're dating in a relationship with, to try to get her to play by your program, that's not the way. It's a different story if you're out in public and a woman comes and attacks you and you're defending yourself, and it's like, okay, at that point she's attacking you, equal rights. But when you're in a relationship with a woman, if you have to control their actions physically, then you've already lost. It's just a matter of time. It's just a ticking time bomb. And not only will you lose her in the relationship, but then the most important part is your reputation. Because like Czar said, once you've broken that kind of bond or trust with a woman, the dirt will start coming out. And you're already seeing it with Diddy. Once this came out with Cassie, there was like 2 or 3 other women immediately after that filed the same type of charges on him. And it just kind of takes one, and then all of a sudden now it's busted wide open and your reputation is absolutely tarnished. Because I remember growing up, Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever he was throughout the kind of ages, he was always seen as like cool, confident, charismatic. He was like the cool guy in the music industry, the kind of the cool guy in Hollywood. Everyone wanted to go to his parties. And now his reputation, I would think to anybody, is now creepy, sleazy, and sketchy. Like that is his reputation. And that's not only for women, but also all of the other men in his world have to see him as creepy, sleazy, and sketchy, because he's done so many things to compromise even men. Like we mentioned, like this came out in the stuff that he would have cameras hidden in his parties, and he would get well-known or influential up-and-comers in the industry to come to his parties, and then he would get them drunk or doing drugs, give them a room, and get things on film so that he could use it as blackmail to then sign them for his label at a really terrible deal for these artists. He's got all this blackmail on them. Hey, you don't want these tapes coming out, you better sign this type of record deal. So this is the stuff now that's coming out that not only women can't trust this guy, but no man in the right mind should trust Diddy with anything, because now they see the games he's not only ran on women, but also on all the men in his life that he's inviting to these parties.
Yeah, and I heard that a long time ago, and I truly believe that someone else exposed other executives, not just Puff Daddy, but they'll drug them up, they'll sodomize them, they'll do certain things to them, and they record it. They record it because they use that as blackmail. So if you don't sign that contract, you want us to show this video to all your homeboys in the hood? You want us to show your family members? What are they going to think of you? and you have a reputation, you're like, damn, like I don't want them seeing that I just got sodomized by a dude or I was doing this in private. So you're going to sign that fucking contract, bro. But if you don't associate with those types of people and you walk with boundaries, you walk with God, whatever you want to call it, you're not going to fall for everything. You're going to stand up for yourself and you're going to know, nah, I'm good. I don't need this money. And when you constantly do dirt on people, there was a great saying someone said, if you shit on everyone to get to the top, one day you're going to have to see those people again when you're back down to the bottom. So if you shit on anyone just to make it to the top, one day you're going to see those same people on your way down. So when you do dirt, when you're being shisty, when you're not an honest person, when you're manipulating people, when you're abusing your power, what happens is karma will always get you. Karma will always get you. The devil has a purpose, but God has a plan. And eventually you have to pay the piper. All that dirt that you did, you might not get caught in a couple years, many years like P. Diddy, but eventually you're going to have to pay that price, bro. And he has to pay that price. I'm not saying anyone else is not as evil as him, but he's the one that just got caught. And just because Cassie came forward now, watch how many other women come forward. This is giving them strength to come forward and expose him as well. Maybe guys as well. And there has been guys that have come out and said the same thing about him.
I mean,
I don't think they're rumors. I
if you
don't think
looked
they're
into the
rumors.
Usher and Justin Bieber, who they got started with, it was Diddy. Like Usher went to Diddy camp or something like that when he was like 13 and lived with Diddy for a while. And listening to his interviews about stuff like that, they're like, Usher, would you ever have your kids go to Diddy camp? He's like, hell no. Because and then Justin Bieber, he had Justin Bieber when he was a young, and I mean, there's a lot of bad things that you can look into in the conspiracy world that have came out. But again, the moral of the story is your reputation's everything. When you lose that as a man, you don't get taken seriously from anybody, men or women.
Any job you go to, doesn't matter what it is. If people find out that you've done dirt in the past, you're not an honest person, you fucked people over just to get to where you are, they don't want to work with you. Your reputation is ruined. And I feel bad for his kids. This is how much of a coward Puff Daddy is. He got a tip off from the feds. Someone probably that he knows works inside of the feds. Got a tip off his house was going to get raided. What does this coward do? He gets up and fucking leaves. Not only does he leave, but he leaves his children behind. You are a fucking coward if you do that, because they're on television getting arrested now and your ass is nowhere to be seen. You should take blame for that. You should take full responsibility. As a man, I wouldn't want my kids' reputations being ruined because it falls back on them now. As a parent, no matter what situation you get yourself in, if you do dirt like Puff Daddy did, it's going to fall back on your children. And now their reputation is tarnished because of you. But that shows me the type of coward that he truly is. And he is a natural narcissist. He's done at this point. All of his money is going to be drained. There's no coming back from this. His apology was fucking asinine, complete bullshit.
Yeah,
He's just mad he got caught.
That is the way, at least with his apology, that is the way that you would want to do it. If taking responsibility, said, I'm not making excuses, I'm sorry. He's at least saying he takes responsibility, but the whole thing is I just don't believe it. I think it's just him knowing the media and fabrication and knowing what he needs to say. But also, like you mentioned I didn't see that episode you said about making the band, but having, the narcissism effect or having Diddy get consumed with his power, because at a certain point he had so much power that he could do things like the video with Cassie where he's beating her up publicly, in a hotel room, and all the other stuff that's alleged that happens. Like at a certain point, that power consumes you, and it goes back to the Spider-Man quote: "Great power comes great responsibility," and that's part of, I think, important for guys to learn about the game piece is because when you learn the game, when you really understand women and female psychology, and you learn the kind of strategies about how to communicate with women that most men just don't know how, you get power that most men don't have before. And that's where you have to be careful to understand and learn the game, but don't be consumed by the game. And what I mean by that is I remember when I was so deep in the game, like, and I would say I was consumed by it. There was a point in my life where it was like every single girl that I interacted with, like in my head, there was some level of like, oh, this is a challenge. I'm going to get this girl. I'm going to game this girl. And it didn't matter to me if she had a boyfriend, a husband. Obviously, I wouldn't mess with any of my buddies' girls or anything like that. But if I met a random girl and she had a boyfriend or a husband or something like that, to me, I didn't care. I was consumed by the game. I was consumed with winning, consumed with the challenge of the chase. And when I think about the comparison of back then to now, it's like now if I meet a girl and she has a boyfriend or a husband, I'm not going to be the reason that relationship ends. I'm not going to jump in there and try to game this girl because now I know the repercussions it can have. I know about all the divorces in the world and how hard it is to have a successful marriage. I know how hard it is for a lot of guys to maintain a good relationship. So I don't want to be a piece of that destruction. But when I was consumed by the game, I didn't care what kind of mess I left behind. And that's another part with the reputation thing is that if you are a guy that your buddies see where you are consumed by the game, where you are hitting on all these women with husbands and you're like trying to sleep with them and game them, that also think about that is like your buddies on some level won't be able to fully trust you around their women because they're going to think this guy has no moral compass, and now you're going to kind of lose that trust with your buddies. You're going to become kind of that sketchy, sleazy, almost creepy guy if you don't have your own standards and boundaries. So learning the game is excellent. You need to learn the game, understand the game, but you got to be careful to not be consumed by the game and the power that comes along with learning it.
And we mentioned before, when you try to control a woman like Puff Daddy does and a lot of these other guys, they have resentment towards you. It's human nature to eventually rebel. You start a revolution, you're done with this shit. You've had enough. And that's why America is such a great country because everyone thinks we're free. They let us believe that we think we're free, but we have the highest incarceration rate, the highest amount of inmates in prison. We have the most jails. We have the most laws. We have the most rules. And the list goes on, but everyone thinks we're free. I'm saying that because there is a great quote that Wolfgang von Goethe said, "None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free." This goes with women. I'm not telling you to treat women like a slave, but if you know how to captivate their mind without controlling them, the heart and body will follow. You don't even have to do anything. And we teach you how to do this in the Players University exclusively. If you sign up, you pay monthly. We have a lot of great players in there, and the price will be going up because we can only cater to so many people. And we have a Q&A once a month where you guys have private meetings with us live. Any questions you have, we answer them, we go over it. But the best slaves are the ones who think they're free, like everyone in America. We all think we're free, but we're not. America was very smart with what they did programming us. Sure, you guys are free, but you have all these rules, boundaries you have to follow. And we have the most laws out of any fucking country in the world. The most laws. When you try to control a woman physically, it's only temporary. If you have to yell at her, if you have to get loud, throw things, be abusive towards her, if you have to tell her what she can and cannot wear, if you have to tell her to block this guy you're following on Instagram, delete your social media, give me your phone, I want to go through your phone. No, you can't do this, you can't do that. Bro, you're controlling. You are controlling. When you know how to captivate her mind, she's not going to violate you, bro. All she has to know is that you have certain rules, you have certain boundaries. If she crosses any of them, deuces, you're out. That's it. That's how I teach my women. That's what I tell them. I don't care what you do. You have the freedom to do what you want. But if you ever violate me, you ever cheat on me, you ever disrespect me, you cross my boundaries, and we teach you how to do this before they want a relationship with you, I am done. And there are no second chances with me because I already explained the rules to you. Just like America explains them to us, the laws and rules they have for us. If you don't follow them, they don't give a fuck, bro. They don't care. So
Yeah,
remember
it's
that,
well
guys.
said. That's well said because it's another counterintuitive principle. But the best way to control a woman is to set her free. That is the best way to control a woman is to absolutely set her free. Unchain her. Don't put shackles on her. And then she's like, whoa, this is no, I kind of want you to shackle me up. I want you to I want you to chain me up. But the guys that come in trying to control women, like Lazar said, taking her phone, going through her phone, saying, hey, you better tell me who's at this meeting you're at. Text me every single guy that's there. I want to know and all that. And they try to control her in that way. They're actually trying to control her world. That right there is going to make her want to bust away and rebel against you. But when you set her free and you give her the option, like if a girl, wanted to go out somewhere that she knew I disapproved of, she wanted it. Let's just say I had a girlfriend and she wanted to go to a girl's weekend in Vegas and get really drunk and go party and all that stuff. I'd say, yeah, go ahead. And she would be like, wait, what? And then the girl would start to worry about like, wait, why? And the fact that I'm like, yeah, go ahead, it's I'm allowing her that choice. But if she makes that choice, I'm gone. But I'm allowing her to be free. It's like, yeah, do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not going to try to control you. I don't want to control you. I don't want to control anybody. But by her doing that, I'm going to be done with her. That's part of the stuff that you would be setting up with women the more you're interacting with them, especially before she's your girlfriend. But then when the scenario comes around, it's like, I'm going to absolutely offer freedom. I'm going to open the door for her. Here you go. Go ahead. Take that temptation if that's what you really want. And then if she walks through that door and she bites that apple that she knows she shouldn't bite, well, she's banished from my Garden of Eden. But I'm allowing her that free will, that free choice to do that. And when you allow women that freedom, those women are like, whoa, I don't want to be free anymore. I want to be just with you.
Yeah, you're too nice, Adam, because I would tell her, listen, I don't want you to go, but if you go, we're not going to be in a relationship anymore. And most of the time, she's asking you because she wants you to say no. That's a commitment test. I truly feel they ask for your permission, hoping that you say no. So they have a reason not to go. Because if they truly love you and you've captivated their mind, they wouldn't even argue with you, bro. They would just say, okay, I figured you'd say that, and have a smile on their face. No problem. But you don't want your girl to be in certain situations that might jeopardize the relationship, especially if she's going to be programmed. And Vegas is a good one. Whether it's a bachelorette party, they're just going with their single girlfriends, married girlfriends, doesn't even matter. But if my girl wants to go, go. But I'll be with a new girl the second she comes back. And she has to know that. Another thing, I have to mention this because I think the rumors are all true. Everyone knows this now that Diddy is bisexual. I think he's gay. You can call it bisexual, whatever you want. He hates himself so much. And a lot of these types of men will do this. They look in the mirror and they hate themselves because they can't stomach their own identity. They'll put their hands on women and abuse women because they look at them as inferior. They can't, they can't, how can I say this? They can't live with their sexuality. They know that they're gay, so they take it out on the women that they date. Another great example is Meek Mills. What did Nicki Minaj say about him? He was very abusive. He put his hands on her. And we all found out what him and P. Diddy were doing. Men like this are secretly gay. If you have to put your hands on a woman and you treat them as if they're inferior to you, but you'll never put your hands on a man, that is an identity crisis. You can't look yourself in the mirror and be happy with who you are. I can't respect a man like that. Just come out and say that you like men and be over with it. It's that easy. But when you try to hide it and you're portraying this image, it hurts other people. It hurts other women. And Nicki Minaj called out Meek Mills for being gay. And she waited until this whole thing happened with P. Diddy because she didn't want to mention his name. She was terrified of him. So I believe she released that recording of them having sex privately. It's on YouTube if you guys want to listen to it. I don't want to hear it again, but I believe Nicki Minaj released that. She secretly recorded it. Maybe they're on vacation together somewhere. And that's where the rumor started that Meek Mills was secretly gay. So
yeah, there's a bunch of funky stuff going on in Hollywood.
And another thing, it's not only the abuse that I think she was unattracted by, but for some reason, when a woman finds out that you're into men or you did something with another guy, you could be bisexual, whatever. But if you did something gay with another man, they will never respect you. They have no attraction for you anymore. Because I think women instinctively know that's not masculine energy. And it's so repulsive. They'll never admit that, but I've heard countless stories with guys that like to be pegged in relationships.
That's what I was going to bring up is
Yeah.
I've heard of men that like to be pegged by their girlfriends or wives, and it's like there's no way that she looks at you as a leader in the dominant one in the relationship if you're willing to be pegged. There's absolutely no way. She is just one of those boss babes that now has her little slave, her slave beta, and she can peg him whenever
the beta mod. Because
I
said that, Adam, because there was a video that went viral of a girl and a guy arguing. They were girlfriend and boyfriend, and she blurted out, "That's why you loved it when I pegged you every night." And you said you loved it out loud. So this is what I mean, bro. Don't do anything in private that you don't want the world knowing. And once a woman falls out of love with you, bro, she has ammunition on you now. She can blow up your fucking spot on social media. She can blow up your spot and you are done. Your reputation is over with. And once you're stripped of your manhood, women automatically, their attraction for you is off. You can never turn it back on again. And I think that's instinctual.
Another piece about the reputation thing, and this is a shout out to Justin from Players University, because somebody was asking about, do you have to basically game every woman you meet, or is it okay to have women that are friends? And Justin said something along the lines that I completely agree with, that he's basically like, no, man, not every woman needs to be a target. Not every woman needs to be on your game radar. But by learning game, it can help you interact, appreciate women in a much different way. So you can still learn game and really enjoy hanging out with women without having that reputation where every girl you meet, you have to flirt with her and become that guy that's always constantly trying to game women. Because again, that's going to create your reputation in the blue pill beta matrix of you being a player. And that reputation, although it will help you one-on-one with women, overall, your reputation with men and women in the blue pill matrix will be kind of diminished. People will look at you again a little sketchy. So I love that advice that Justin said, is not every woman has to be a target. You can use the way that you understand about how to communicate with women. Let women talk. be playful, tease them. You can do all that stuff and you can just leave out the sexual energy part and you can create a lot of cool friendships with women to again help strengthen your overall reputation. When you have women as friends, when you have women that can have your back, you can fight a lot of the shenanigans that might come up in really bad situations like the Me Too movement, all that stuff. When you got women that are allies for you, then you're going to live a lot safer life in the blue pill matrix. And I think that's important is that when you learn game, you don't have to use it on every single woman, but you can still use the principles you understand to make cool connections with women. I love, okay, let's say this. If I'm going to hang out with, if I'm going to do an activity where we're actually going to get something accomplished or do something, I love hanging out with men. Like if I'm going golfing, I prefer to golf with men. We're out there golfing and then we're just hanging out, kind of shooting jabs at each other, just kind of the male thing. Love doing that. If I'm going to a poker night, I'd much prefer a poker night with all men because we're there to play poker first and we socialize second. But with women, it's almost the opposite. I would not want to go to a poker night with women unless it's strip poker because their first thing is going to be communication, social hour, having all that fun, and poker will come second. And that would drive me crazy. But if I had to choose between going to a brunch happy hour with 10 women drinking mimosas or 10 men drinking mimosas, I'm going to go in that scenario with 10 women every time because when you're just sitting around chatting, having fun, like that energy with women is a lot of fun. So when you can learn to appreciate women and not have to game every woman, you can still have a lot of enjoyment in your life without creating a bad reputation where, you know, every girl thinks that you're trying to sleep with every other girl in the world.
I love how you said you need to have allies. You need to be allies with women because right now, with going back to Puff Daddy, there is not one woman that has stood up for him and said, I know this man. He wouldn't do that. Not even before the whole hotel scene with what he did with Cassie, putting his hands on her. Not one woman came out and even defended this man. I'm sure me and you, if anything happened to us, God forbid, because there are some sour apples out there. If anything happened to us, we'll have over 50 women standing up for us and saying, no, I know that guy. He would never do that. And you have to have women as your allies. If you don't have women as your allies, your life is going to be difficult, bro. Because let me tell you something, man. When a woman truly likes you, when she's in love with you, that is the first person that's going to bail you out of prison. That is the first person. It's not your best friend. It's not your family member. It's that girl that you're sleeping with, that girl that truly loves you. When you have women as your allies, and I've had many stories we mentioned, women giving me money when I was jammed up, getting me out of certain situations, doing this for me, doing that for me. They were there in a heartbeat. Guys, you call your friends, I don't know, I'm tired. I had a long day. I'm with my cat. I got to walk my dog. Can we do it, next week? Bro, I'm in prison. I need to get bailed out. A woman, yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. That's the difference. So you need to have women as allies. And if you have all women that are against you, you're never going to make it out. And that's why I think Puff Daddy is done for. He can't show his face anywhere. He ruined his reputation. I teach you guys, and Adam does as well, don't do unto others that you wouldn't want them to do to you. If you treat other people with disrespect, you abuse your power over them, you shit on them. Let me tell you something, man. You will have karmic retribution. Your day will come. I know in the Bible it says the rain falls on the just and the unjust. I'm not talking about that. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Sometimes good things happen to bad people. It depends, bro. But eventually, all the dirt that you did to get that money, all the dirt that you did to achieve that fame, that status, all that is going to be taken away because God has a plan for you. God does not like ugly. And another thing, anytime you do something that Puff Daddy did, or you're doing dirty things in the dark, you're an evil person. Not only are you upsetting God, but you're also upsetting your ancestors. I want you guys to really pay attention to this. Your ancestors are watching to see what you're doing and how you're carrying yourself. If you're constantly hurting other people and you're doing shady, negative things, you will pay for that. Your ancestors will be pissed off in the afterlife, and it's going to come back and haunt you. And they want it to because they want you to learn a lesson. So not only do you upset God, not only do you upset those that are around you, but you're also upsetting your ancestors before you. And a lot of people forget that. And I think with the whole Puff Daddy situation, a lot of his ancestors are pissed off at him. And now it's his time to pay up because you can only get away with doing so much dirt.
The last thing that I have for this topic about your reputation is going back to practicing good habits. And what I mean by this is like, I'll get this a lot where a guy might show me his text screenshot and maybe he did something, over pursued her, and blew it in a sense. He said something he shouldn't have, and we can talk about it and point it out. And I'm like, hey, man, right now you just got to give her space, back off, let her calm down from the situation, erase this kind of mistake that happened, and try again in the future after she has some time. And the guy is like, well, hey, what if I send her this right now? Or what if I send her this? And I'm kind of like, hey, she already got your text. She's not responding for a reason. You sending in another text right now is going to make you look needy, going to make you look desperate. And I will get this pushback a lot of guys like, yeah, well, whatever, I don't really care. And like they're kind of using that as their alpha mindset. Is like, yeah, well, whatever, I don't care what she thinks of me. But again, this is where it's like, have some pride in your reputation. Your reputation follows you with women as well. If a girl is showing you signs that she doesn't want you, you're texted her once or twice, she's not texting you back. It's like by you forcing your way in and just trying to shoot your shot when the shot is already gone, now you are ruining your reputation. That girl is telling her friends about you. God, this guy can't take a hint. This girl has completely soured on you. And again, her friends know about this. Now also you're practicing the bad habits that are going to hurt your reputation and hurt your game in the long run. So when we think about your reputation, this is another thing with it is like practice good habits. When the girl's not giving you that interest back, I'm not giving guys an excuse to be scared to make a move or try. But when a girl is clearly not texting you back, clearly not interested in you trying to force it and push it, you are ruining your reputation and you're practicing bad habits that are going to, again, hurt your long-term reputation with women and just the perception around you, because now you run into that girl at some random networking event. You had no idea she was going to be there. And now maybe she tells all these other people at that networking event about your creepy behavior, and that loses you out on a job or a promotion. Again, not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but your reputation matters. So treat it as though it matters.
And that's another great point you made. People that do shady things, people that do evil things in the dark, just because they don't get caught, well, the fact that they don't get caught, that means they don't have to take responsibility. But we're here telling you what you're doing wrong. Learn from these mistakes. No one was telling any of these people that, especially no one in Hollywood, because they have all this power. They're not liable for anything they do. They don't get caught. They don't get in trouble. No one knows about it. So they're going to keep doing it. But if you learn from your mistakes and you're truly apologetic, you know what you did wrong, and you can grow from that. If you don't take accountability for anything that happens to you, even with women, you're never going to grow. You're never going to change. And a lot of guys will complain, oh, my ex was this. She cheated on me. I can't believe she was a skank. But bro, it's your fault that you were in a relationship with her. Why did you have her in your life then? But guys want to blame the woman. Oh, she was a biatch. She did this and she acted this way. Why were you in a relationship with her? You have to take accountability. Everything that's happened in my life, I looked in the mirror and I said it was my fault that I chose that woman. It was my fault that I said this. It was my fault that I did that. I learned from those mistakes so they don't happen again.
Something you mentioned about the taking responsibility for every situation. It's like it can be as easy because I know everyone has reasons to put blame on other people, or we all think we think we're justified in putting blame on other people. But every situation, it's like just go back and just go, what can I learn from this? And that's what I love about Camille. Everyone knows we had Camille on the podcast. He's in Players University. Is like when he talks about one of his relationships that he had, and there was bad things that were going on and things that she did that she wasn't treating him right. But what he focused on is like, hey, she taught me how to dress. She taught me everything about fashion. She taught me how to be the man I am right now, where I can go out and I look good and all these women are looking at me and all that. And it's like that's the right mindset. Like things happen to everybody. I believe people in situations are put into your life to, for you to overcome whatever challenge that is. And if you don't overcome it, you don't solve that riddle, you don't solve that problem, that same problem is going to come back up in your life later on. And it's going to be harder this time to deal with until you figure out how to solve that problem and move on from it. But the pity party, the victim mentality, blaming everyone else, that doesn't get you anywhere. It just gets you in a self-dwelling hole, and then no one even wants to be around you, especially guys. Like we all know women complain about things. Yeah, okay. But if you're around a guy that complains about everything, woe is me, everything, life's not fair, bad things always happen to me. It's like me as a man, when I hear another man constantly complain and be negative and just have a pity party, I just lose such respect for him. It's like, dude, chill out, man. It's like, take some responsibility, learn from this. No one wants to sit here and hear about you complain over and over and over and over again.
Now
Not
imagine
me,
how a
not any
woman
woman.
feels. Now imagine how a woman feels when they're complaining.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. She just feels like she has to be this guy's therapist, and then she has no one that she feels she can open up to because she has to be this guy's therapist. So yeah, just think about that, guys. Bad situations happen to everybody. Well, what did you learn from it? What can you learn from it? And if you think you can't learn anything, you better sit back and reflect about what you can and did learn from that experience, or that experience will come back up twice as difficult when you're not expecting it in your life.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say, I like to use examples. So this happened recently. I noticed that this older woman, she looks like a Barbie doll. She wasn't following me on Instagram anymore. I couldn't message her something I wanted to message her. And I asked her, I said, did you delete your Instagram or did you block me? I already knew the answer. And before she said it, this was the funniest story. So she said, she called me and she said, hey, listen, I want to talk to you. Okay, what's up? I didn't want to block you, but I'm dating this guy for several months and he saw that I was following you, Czar of Dating, dating tips. He saw your videos and he said, I can't believe you're following this guy. Who is he? Scrolling through my videos. And she said, oh, we just dated for a little bit. It was nothing serious. He forced her to block me. And I could tell this dude has no game. If you ever tell a woman to block someone, it's only going to be temporary. She will quickly unblock you right after. It happens all the fucking time. But she told me another thing. So he would go out on dates with her and he would open her car door and he would make fun of me. He'd say, you see, Czar wouldn't do that for you. He doesn't open car doors for
Oh
women.
gosh.
Czar wouldn't do this treatment for you. And I'm laughing in the back of my head. I'm not going to blow up her spot. I don't want to talk ill of him, but it's just to teach you guys a lesson. If a girl blocks you and you've been cool with her, you were dating her, no tension, that means she met another guy that either told her to block you, he found out about you, or she's in a relationship, she doesn't want social media, she got rid of it. And a lot of girls will do that when they're into a man. But guess what? The second they break up, she's back on social media again. It's only temporary. You cannot force a woman to do what you want her to do. Sure, she blocked me, but I didn't tell her this. I already know what time it is. I'll give it about a month, 2 months before she unblocks me. And then she's gonna hit me
And she'll
up.
jump in your DMs once
Yeah,
once they're
what are you
once she's
doing?
bored of Billy Beta.
Once you, yeah. And guys still don't want to learn. They want to hate men like me and Adam because they hate everything we represent. We're assholes. How do we get women? If we talk to them like this, and you guys would be surprised, but we don't like to brag. So let him learn the hard way. I hope he listens to this podcast and I hope he learns from that situation because I don't see it lasting any longer than it is, to be honest with you.
And
I'm
guys need to understand this. It's like Romeo and Juliet. The parents did not approve of the relationship. So what did that woman do? What did Juliet do? She doubled
rebelled.
down. She's
She
gonna marry this guy
rebelled.
or die because she wants to rebel against her parents. So you as the guy that's trying to make her rebel against this other guy, block him. I don't want you seeing him. I don't want you talking to him. You're just setting up a Romeo and Juliet love story. Women love drama. They love rebelling. So when you tell her she can't do something, her curiosity is piqued. And it's the same thing that happened to me over and over again through college is when I was hanging out with my buddies that never got women, I bring a girl or a couple girls to parties. Later on down the night, I hear one of the girl comes to me and says, "Adam, so and so told me you're a player. So and so told me you sleep with a lot of women. They said that you have different women over every weekend." And those guys were trying to do that to like save her and then make her be like, "Well, maybe I shouldn't go for Adam. Maybe I should go for you because you're a good guy. You wouldn't do that to me." But in reality, all it did is raise my social status. She goes, "Other women want him, obviously. Shoot. Now I better be absolutely on my best behavior with Adam, do everything he wants, submit for him completely, or else he'll be with a different woman." So when guys tell on other guys like that, it unlocks the Juliet complex in women where she wants to rebel and see what this whole censorship is about. Why am I not allowed to talk to him? That makes her more curious about him, and then it raises the social status. When women know a guy's a player, when women know guys are, you know, understand game, like that guy was, didn't want her following you because you're obviously a guy that teaches about dating, you understand game, that just makes the girls more curious. It raises that guy's status. Another thing that seems like it would work, but it's backwards with women. When you do that, you're just making the other guy look good and you're being a total little pussy by telling on your bros.
I don't think I've ever done that in my life, Adam. Even in my beta days, I just thought that was cringe, talking shit about another guy to a girl because you didn't want her to date him or get with him. And I realize it does the other effect. It makes the girl want him even more. She's even more curious because it goes back to the prehistoric, the evolutionary days, whatever you guys believe in. I call it the dawn of time. The beta males couldn't beat up the alphas physically, the ones that were getting all the women, the alphas, the leaders, the ones who came first. So what would they do? They would all talk shit about him to the women, trying to defame him. Instead, they would gang up and they would try to defame his character, assassinate his character with the other women. Only beta males do shit like that. And I think women instinctively know because it's hardwired in them. These guys can't beat them up physically. They see them as a threat because they're taking all the women. So let me talk shit about him instead. Women are hardwired to know you are a beta male if you're doing that.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to end on because that was a mistake that I did make earlier in my days because again, my nice guy calling card was my superpower. I thought that's what all the girls validated me on. Adam, you're such a nice guy. So when I would hear a woman complain about a guy that was not a nice guy, I'd be like, "Oh, I can't believe that. You deserve someone so much better. I would treat you better." I used to do that stuff all the time, like through high school. And the other thing about the reputation piece is that let's just say there's a guy at a party that's kind of like a player as well, and I see girls kind of gang up on him and call him a player. and try to like, get after him like that, I will come in and always defend him. I'll be like, no, this is the sweetest guy in the world. He's just no, I saw him save a cat from a tree the other day, and oh man, he helped this lady across the street. He was going to be late for work, but didn't matter. And I just completely talk him up. If you're a guy that can completely talk other men up, right? You're talking up your competition. What kind of confidence does that show in yourself that you're willing to talk up your competition rather than try to pull them down? I build up my competition, and that also shows pure confidence because women are kind of like, wait, why aren't you fighting for me? Why would you build this other guy up? Why would you want? And so there's a lot of psychology at play, but not only do I build other men up now, but also especially when you're with your friends. And I've talked about this on an earlier podcast, but like Czar mentioned with birds of a feather flock together. And we know that if a girl has slept around and been a really bad influence, you can probably guess that her friends she's with are also bad influences or very promiscuous women or whatever. Well, when I'm out with my buddies, I'm talking all my buddies up. These are all awesome dudes. Man, no, these are the coolest guys, loyal to a fault, like there for me whenever I need them. I'm talking everything I can up about my buddies. Well, why? Birds of a feather flock together. If you're sitting there trying to shoot crap at all your buddies in front of women, putting them down, calling them losers, birds of a feather flock together. Why do you hang out with them? The girls wonder. Are you a loser too? Versus you hang out with buddies, you're talking each other up. All these guys are the coolest guys in the world. Oh man, there's awesome. That guy's hilarious. Love that guy. He can make anyone laugh. I'm talking all my buddies up. Birds of a feather. All my buddies are cool. You must be cool too, Adam. So think about that too. There's so much psychology at play, but that's the other part to leave you guys with about reputation.
And join the Players University.
You got us. You got a bunch of, like I just said, I made that post today about how proud I am of all the members, man. It's like I get to come in now and answer questions. I'm like, boom, there's already 2 or 3 guys that came in and helped this guy out. I'm like, that's a perfect answer. Well
and
done.
They're learning.
Well said,
they're learning quickly. They're learning
quickly.
We have players in there that are learning the game so fast. Obviously, they got our courses with it. They listen to our podcast, and you guys get first dibs. So if you have a podcast idea that you want us to talk about, we're going to talk about it. So someone actually mentioned shaming tactics. What are some shaming tactics women use and how you can handle it? So that's a good topic. I'm going to have to do my homework and write as many as I can think of off the top of my head for you guys. So I'll be more prepared for that podcast. That's a very good one. Be on the lookout for that. We'll also have someone from the Players University on the podcast teaching you guys game and their experience. We have the young guys and the older guys as well.
And everyone's got their own flavor. That's just like we mentioned earlier, how you and I would go about the girls' trip differently. Like everyone has their own flavor, but when you have that, you can still learn the same principles and then use your own flavor. And just like we're seeing with, like, we love bringing up Rich's horoscope line, stuff like that. Now you're seeing all these other guys use the same type of ideas, but they're putting their own flavor on it. It's like, that's where it's really, really fun. You get to learn the underlying principles, sprinkle your own flavor in, and then see where it goes. So when you guys join, you can come in, ask any question, upload your screenshots, upload your dating app profile so we can help you, give you tips. You get weekly content where we break down all the stages of attraction. So there's 12 weeks of weekly content. I've been adding bonus videos in there about texting and dating apps and stuff like that as well. And then we got our live video call for only members once a month as well. So this is the spot. This is the spot to learn. Awesome guys in here. When you join, guys, introduce yourself in the introduction tab and start digging in. And myself, Czar, and all the other members are going to help to get you where you want to be able to, be a true player in life.
Yeah. Where else are they going to get 2 dating coaches simultaneously and also some of the best players? I don't know anyone else that's doing this. It's a great investment for you guys. And especially if you're young, even if you're older, but if you're young, you want to learn this as quickly as possible, but enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of learning this, because once it starts clicking and you come up with your own style based off of your personality, because Rich has that charming, charismatic personality. And Jay's someone else. He's more of that rugged, masculine,
Yeah, he's more
cocky
that,
and funny guy.
Yep. Yep.
So everyone has their archetype. The biggest trouble I see with guys is they're trying to be someone they're not. They're trying to be like Andrew Tate. They're trying to be like you. They're trying to be like me. All these other people, and it's a facade. You have to stick to your guns. Focus on the strengths that you have. If you're not that charming, charismatic guy, find something else that you know women would be interested in. If you're an intelligent, intellectual guy, be a good storyteller. Women love an intellectual man, but learn to tell good stories so everyone has their own archetype.
Or be a chess player. Use that strategic mind of yours to just lay traps and set up traps for women where they start to fall. I mean, there's so many cool ways to do it. But that's the other thing I love about this too with the different styles is I'll see questions where guys will post and be like, hey, what would you respond to this? And in my head, I'm already thinking of, oh, okay, here's how I would respond. And I go in and I see like 2 or 3 comments of guys that said something completely different than I was thinking. But then I kind of go through my head. I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, I could actually really see how that could work. And so when you join this, when you get all these other guys asking questions, I think that's part of the fun is because you start to get to see everyone's own style. And then you can start stealing lines of people's styles that actually match more of yours. Like I would probably guess that Jay and your style are more similar. And I would probably guess Rich and my styles are more similar.
Yeah.
But like, there's everything in between. And it's like really fun because you're getting, Czar's coming in with his answer. I'm coming in with my answer. Someone else is coming in with their answer. And now you have 3, 4, 5 different responses. And then you can look at that response and go, does that sound like something I would say? Does that sound like something that, fits my personality? And then you go with that. And that's how you start to develop your own little flavor of game.
I've used lines that worked perfectly from Rich, from Jay. I'm still learning, guys. I like to try new material and it works. It fits my personality. And the texting game is a big portion of game. So don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. But thank you so much, guys.
Yep. We'll see you next week. And we'll talk to you guys in Players University much sooner. Take care, guys.